Hello, mes petits choux, my precious petals, and my darling dahlias. Welcome back to Fl'AwesomeBlossom. The studio is looking like this. So let's think for a moment. Let's just, can you just join me in a prayer right now? I would love that. Could we just pray that I get a bigger space for my studio? Can we please pray on that I can get to a place where there is a proper room where I can set up my desk, I can set up the recording space, and I have space to walk around because I am dying to really get into that devotion through motion, and I'm just running into some production problems with space and recording setup. So it's okay, it's gonna get there. But anyway, I just wanted to come on today. It's been a while, I know. I got a lot of pokers in different fires right now, so I'm a very busy bee, and I am trying to put the time and the effort into Fl'awesomeBlossom, but I am also trying to, meet my financial obligations, so I got to do that too. Anyway, I just want to tell you, this is going to be a quick one for today, because I was supposed to be doing this yesterday. And even a little bit last week. There was some things that needed to be done and it didn't get done. And honestly, I really started to feel like someone was trying to shut me up. You hear in the dingity dings, I'm not even going to edit this part out. This is my husband sending me some love. Here we go. Thanks. Anyway, I was really starting to feel like I was under, I'm just going to call it a spiritual attack, but I was starting to really feel like I was being suppressed or distracted or just like blocked from coming in here and doing my thing. And I started to really think about something here, right? I'm like thinking about like I'm being shut up, like something is like either choking me or like just not allowing me to say the words. And then I started to think about how the actual easiest way to create any kind of confusion is not actually to erase words, but it's to change the meaning. And I mean, we are definitely in a war on language right now, right? There are words that have been defined for centuries, and suddenly we are like, what? We don't know what that word means anymore. Anyway, if you can make someone hear something completely different, like if you can make a meaning change when you say a word, then you do not have to silence that word. And I'm going to give you a really good example, right? So you just have to make people change what they hear. And I started to think about the word gay. It is the most obvious word for me. And the reason is because gay didn't originally mean what we know it to mean now in the year 2026. When it first came about, it was around the 14th century when we first see the recorded word gay, and it really meant happy, joyful, carefree. And then if someone was really gay, if they were really extra gay, that meant they were so carefree that they became lewd. That they cared so less about morality and judgment and anything like that they would behave in a lewd or licentious way. And so now, it makes a little bit of sense because it went to that extreme. Then a couple of 100 years go by, and then by 1940, it has been co-opted and now pretty much exclusively means homosexuality. Specifically, homosexuality between two men. If it didn't, if it included women in that, then we wouldn't need the word lesbian, right? Anyway, when most people hear the word gay, they do not hear joyful. All they hear is that person is same-sex attracted, and typically what they're really going to hear is that man is sexually attracted to other men. And I'm not making a judgment about that, okay? What I'm saying is I am fascinated that the same collection of letters can carry extremely different meanings depending on when and where you encounter it. So with that in mind, I gotta let you know, this is what I've started doing. I have started, today is day 1 of this. I am doing a Bible in a year, a 52-week journey through God's Word. And what I really like about this, I mean, obviously there's a lot of floral stuff going on, so I love that. But this is like Bibles for babies. Bibles for your baby steps into spirituality. And I'm going to say spirituality and not religion because I understand that organized religion has a place, but it is not the place that I want to be. All right. So I consider myself a spiritualist. I am Christ adjacent. So, Yeshua, absolutely. He's my dude bro. And I really am enjoying the teachings that I'm reading here. But why I'm steering away from organized religion is because, well, I just don't like bureaucracy to begin with. I don't like the administratia. I don't like the red tape. I don't like the gatekeeping. And that's really what organized religion does. It really keeps that gate. And, I saw the cutest little church last year when we were driving around, and I saw this really sweet church, and I took a couple of pictures because it was just so picturesque and absolutely gorgeous. And then I saw the sign. And I'm dropping this visual in here for you because this has been my problem with religion from the age of 12, when I really realized that not only is this sign put out for, the garden space, but there is an invisible sign around organized religion, and it's keep out. It is keep the gates closed. Anyway, cute church though. All right, moving on. So today is day 1, and what I like about this journal is that it's not asking too much of me. It's bite-sized pieces here and there. So the first week is on creation and God's nature, and on day 1, you are meant to read Genesis chapter 1, lines 1 through 3, and that's it. And I'm fascinated by reading it in my 4 Bibles because guess what? All I'm reading are 3 lines, and every different Bible I have says them differently. And it makes a difference. It does change the way that you would interpret things, right? There are many words that have gone through different sort of changes. I'm going to try and give you a couple more examples here. Doodly. Sorry. Here we go. All right, so gay is the most obvious one for me. Awesome. I use this all the time. I mean, Fl'AwesomeBlossom was born because I say awesome so much and also acknowledge that I have flaws. So, awesome. Awesome means to inspire awe, right? And now it's become a very casual thing for anything that feels good or looks good. Oh, that's awesome. But is it? And didn't awe used to also sort of bring up a little bit of fear, a little bit of like, not just wonder, but a little bit of intimidation or fear, right? Awful, the word awful, it means worthy of awe. But now it means bad. Nice. Good word, nice. Historically, nice actually it's more about being foolish or ignorant. And now, today, it's about being pleasant and kind. And I think this is where things get slippery because I've known that being nice is not the same as being kind. Being nice means I'm having a pleasant conversation with you the entire time that you've got spinach stuck between your teeth, and I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to give you that moment of uncomfortableness where I tell you you've got spinach in your teeth and you're like, oh no. I think I'm being nice by sparing your feelings. And then the rest of the day, until you look in the mirror and see it, you're talking to everybody with that spinach in your teeth, aren't you? That's being nice. But being kind means saying something that might hurt someone, that might actually give them some moments of uncomfortability, that might disturb them in some way, but that has a greater purpose behind it. So the difference between being with the spinach in your teeth, I could be, quote, nice and just not give you any uncomfortable moments in your life at all and let you just deal with the fact that there's spinach in your teeth. And when you know, you know. When you find out, then you find out. Or I could be kind and I could tell you, hey, Kiki, you got some spinach in your teeth. And yeah, maybe for a moment you're going to be like, oh no, I can't believe that. How embarrassing. I'm so sorry about that. But then I'm going to be the only one that you've spoken to with the spinach in your teeth, right? I'm not going to send you out into the world with that in your teeth. That one moment of kindness, that one moment where you're a little uncomfortable, but you fixed the thing, has allowed you to go through the rest of your day with no consequence, with no spinach in your teeth, with none of that involved. That's the difference between nice and kind, okay? And I feel like we really need to hammer this home because we need to teach the young generation, the generation that is having children right now, we need to teach them the difference between being a parent and being a friend. Because a parent has to be kind. You have to do the things sometimes that are uncomfortable or not so great. Can you just, I'm picturing God there too. God's like, yes, I am aware. I am a parent. And a lot of times I have to do things and put up with things that are not so great. But anyway, back to this. Parents need to be parents. And they get to be their children's friend later in their lives if everybody matures to that level. But we've got parents these days who don't want to do anything uncomfortable with their children, to their children. They don't want to reprimand them. They don't want to correct them in ways that ensure the correctness. And I'm not talking about beating your children, okay? But you've got to know that just last week, a parent and their toddler were ejected from an airplane. I don't mean ejected as in, boop, the eject seat. What I mean there is they got thrown off the plane because the parent could not parent. The parent could not parent their 2.5-year-old toddler. And so the only way to solve everything is to get that toddler and the parent off the plane. The child was refusing to be put into a seatbelt. The child was having an absolute meltdown. And the solution was to remove the parent and the child. And I think that was probably the correct solution because it sounds like they waited for well over an hour for the parent to parent. And then the parent was unable to relate to their child in that way, probably because they've never done it before. And so the child just knew if I pitch a fit long enough, I will get my way. And in that moment, the way was, I don't want to be in a seat. I don't want to be in my own seat with a seatbelt. Being kind, being a parent is very different from being nice and being a friend. Just saying. But anyway, back to the language. Okay, one more thing. I love this in my little exploration of this. Silly. The word silly. When it first showed up, it actually had a connotation of being like innocent or blessed. You know, it wasn't a negative. Now, silly means you're being foolish. Like it is a negative. You're not being whimsical. You are being ignorant to the point of foolishness to a detriment. But it never used to be like that. That word didn't used to be like that. So we really need to be mindful of words while we are studying the Bible. And I know a lot of people get gifted one, or they just choose one and then that's the one they roll with. So maybe they're not really aware that there are differences and that could drastically change your interpretation. But I am aware. It's why I'm reading 4 of them at the same time. It's also why I've decided that although my ancient Greek is pretty much nil, I have not looked at that since 1994. Okay? It's been a long time. My Latin is a lot better. And you know, I am up on some of the Greek because of my anatomy and physiology knowledge, but like the human body is written in those languages, Latin and Greek. But I really feel like I need to step up my game here. And if I'm going to be studying ancient scripture, I got to get me a Hebrew resource. And it's great to be doing that on your own. But you know what? That's a language that is so intentional that I feel like I need assistance on that. So part of my journey in the next little while is going to be reaching out to some resources where I can maybe learn a little bit of Hebrew. All right. I just put that out there. If you know of a resource in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia for learning Hebrew, please let me know. I'd love to know. Anyway, that's it for today. This is it for today. It's not so short, but I'm hoping it's sweet. And I'm just letting you know, I'm going to keep forging on. I do feel like I'm being blocked on some levels. Like maybe it's a spiritual attack. Maybe that's just something I can say to excuse my slovenness, or to like when I'm having a really bad day and I can't really get out of bed. It feels better to say it's a spiritual attack than naming what's really going on, which I don't want to, and I'm not going to on YouTube. So anyway, point is, I am studying. Today was day 1, and I just wanted to show you my little book. I wanted to talk a little bit about the language, and next time I'm going to talk about those first 3 lines and what they mean to me and how it sets up my understanding of what's going on. All right, my darling dahlias, mes petits choux, my best buds. You're going to see me next time.